pizza perfection. We'll take you to the local pizza place that's getting national acclaim. Then one cold, very long swim.
Wow, the English Channel is a beast.
We meet the Plymouth woman who tried to swim the English Channel. But first, a crowded classroom problem and how Robbinsdale schools are trying to fix it. 12 News starts right now. Everyone, and thanks for joining us. Schools in the Robbinsdale district are bursting at the seams, and now district officials are trying to figure out how to find enough space for students and teachers.
It was a topic of discussion on Wednesday night, and as Delane Cleveland reports, the district has proposed a plan that doesn't exactly please everyone.
Space requirements are driven by both enrollment and then how schools and programs use space.
A packed house turned out Wednesday night for an information session on the Robbinsdale School District's long-range facilities plan.
By 2017-18, we will no longer have capacity in our middle schools as they currently are to handle the enrollment that we expect to see at that time.
Bring it back to your spot.
It's a problem that developed thanks to the legislature's decision for schools to provide all-day kindergarten. Expanded program options also contributed to the problem while the district tries to maintain smaller class sizes.
You don't want to have too many students in a class because it might impact student learning. So we want to keep it at that optimal level.
Those decisions have had consequences in the form of increased enrollment and decreased capacity, especially in the district's middle schools. Here at Plymouth Middle School, it's so overcrowded that they use every possible space for classroom instruction, which means that some teachers have no place to go between classes. But they're trying to get creative. For instance, this used to be a storage room, but it's since been converted to a very small teacher workspace. And here in the lunchroom, they'll be bringing in partitions to convert this area into classroom space as well.
So we need some added capacity, but it's a lot more cost effective to just build on another room than to spend multiple millions of dollars building a new school.
That was the message district officials tried to get across Wednesday night as they talked about a three-phase plan that involved making renovations to Plymouth Middle School, reopening Pilgrim Lane Elementary, which closed in 2009, and turning Sandburg into a middle school magnet center.
I just want to make sure that they really think that this is the right thing for students, and not just because it's space or because it's money or because it's facilities. It's about kids.
In New Hope, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Parents will have another opportunity to weigh in on the plan during a listening session with the school board. That meeting takes place on Wednesday, August 26th, starting at 6:30. For more information, you can go to our website. It's 12.tv.
Target's northern campus in Brooklyn Park is getting bigger while its footprint elsewhere is getting smaller. Target announced plans today to sell its west campus along I-394 at the Golden Valley Minneapolis border. The sale affects 1,300 employees, which a Target spokesperson says will be moving to the Brooklyn Park campus next summer. About 2,000 Target employees currently work at the northern campus after the completion of 2 new buildings last year.
As I understand it, it's quite a cross-section of executives, at all levels, really, and I think that that's going to benefit everybody in Brooklyn Park. Not to mention the schools, if they decide that they like Brooklyn Park enough to even move up there themselves, not just their jobs.
Target spokesperson says changes in the business means they haven't moved as many workers to the North Campus as they had planned a few years ago.
The city of New Hope is considering tax incentives to redevelop a distressed property and attract new business. A real estate developer recently purchased a vacant building on Science Center Drive. The developer wants to tear it down and turn it into a 48,000 square foot industrial building. However, to make that project happen, the company is requesting $250,000 in tax increment financing. Such requests are common to redevelop blighted property. The city will discuss the proposal next week.
The city of Osseo is losing a key leader who has helped grow business in the city. Kevin Rebman resigned this week from his post as president of the city's Economic Development Authority. Rebman served on the EDA since 2004. He and his wife are retiring from the retail world and are closing their small business in Osseo, a Novel Place bookstore. During his tenure, Rebman participated in many city redevelopment efforts, including 5 central apartments, which opened last summer. When you think of locations for famously good pizza, Chicago or New York may come to mind.
But according to Time magazine, you can add Robbinsdale to the list. Pig Ate My Pizza is mentioned in Time magazine as one of the top 10 best pizza places in the U.S. The 2-year-old pizza spot along West Broadway opened as an offshoot of Travail Restaurant and has the same owners. The pizza shop offers classic pizzas and an ever-changing menu of craft pizzas, including one with a deep dish brioche crust and pulled pork shoulder. Time magazine describes their offerings as funky, unorthodox pies.
Some people come in, they're like, well, I don't really want a classic. I'm like, well, if you do, they're just as good. But if you're kind of adventurous, currently we have a curry pizza, so hey, try the curry. It's spicy, but it's different.
Pig Ate My Pizza also got a nod recently from Food and Wine magazine as a top 10 pizza place.
Absolutely.
Up next, the swim of all swims. Meet the Plymouth woman who tried to swim the English Channel.
Then later in sports, a Maple Grove girls basketball star is headed for one of the country's top colleges.
But first, it is getting steamy, warm temperatures and rising dew points on Friday. This summer, a Plymouth woman attempted to join an elite group.
Since 1875, fewer than 2,000 people have completed a swim across the English Channel. 12 News reporter Shannon Slatton introduces us to Karen Zemlin, who has had her eyes set on the channel for the last 8 years.
When I started in this experience, I was like, yikes, this is a big task and a lot to learn.
When Karen Zemlin swims, she goes the extra mile.
If you want to do it, you have to really focus on it.
She sharpened her focus on a new challenge after watching her then 68-year-old father try to swim the English Channel.
He was doing a training swim across Lake Mille Lacs, and I knew that if I didn't do the swim with him, I would have to be on the boat that long. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do the swim with him.
Rough waves ended her father's attempt in 2007.
It's like, wow, the English Channel is a beast.
But Karen now knew she wanted to try.
That's why we decided it was kind of a priority right now. It's because it just gets harder as you age.
With her husband Tom at her side, Karen set off learning how to be a channel swimmer. She logged hours in the pool and raced on Lake Minnetonka. She swam around Madeline Island and around Manhattan. She swam through heavy seaweed off the coast of California and did an out and back swim to Alcatraz. When she came home,
I have some friends that have cabin on Mille Lacs, and they allowed me to use their cabin and train in Mille Lacs until Mille Lacs warmed up too much, and then I could just head up to Superior for the day.
Karen knew distance wouldn't be the problem, but the cold would.
The only thing that was going to keep her from getting across the channel was freezing out.
She trained for 2 weeks in Dover before setting off on July 31st for the big swim.
I'm always swimming towards France, but as the water is changing direction, so the tide is all getting pushed, the current is all coming this way, and I'm getting pushed.
She was strong through currents and even through jellyfish.
The ones you hit, you don't see. But there was plenty out there that I saw, too many to count.
But after 12 hours in the water, the cold was too much to bear.
It's getting dark, it's getting colder, it's not getting warmer. She's starting to shut down.
I didn't think I'd crumble mentally, and I didn't crumble mentally. I was going to get to France. And it was right there.
It was absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, especially because we were right there. I mean, it was right. You could see the bushes, you could see the rocks, it was right there.
Karen's support team knew she couldn't make it through the tough currents near shore.
We put a towel around under her arms and lifted her up.
Karen doesn't remember much about that moment.
She was already on the boat for probably about 5 minutes. And she said, don't touch me, you'll disqualify me.
And only later realized how close she came.
As she started to warm up a little bit, she all of a sudden just says, shoot, darn.
Strong and capable, to the point that a week later before she came home,
I just see some people with swim caps entering the water, and I'm like, what? There's a swim going on?
She ended her British adventure swimming one more time.
To be allowed to try that out was a real gift.
In Plymouth, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Karen doesn't know what challenge she will undertake next. There have only been 27 successful solo swims across the English Channel so far this year. And so close.
Close.
Oh, man.
See it.
That's right. Coming up, making a statement in the garden with hydrangeas.
But first, we will check in with the Cooper Hawks on today's football training camp report. John Jacobson has that and more up next.
Well, John's here with sports now, and a pretty impressive move for a local athlete.
Right, going to the big-time school academically and athletically, too. One of the top returning prep girls basketball players from the area has made a verbal commitment for college basketball, and safe to say she'll be hitting the books in college pretty hard. Maple Grove senior number 14 Mackenzie Barta has made a verbal commitment to play basketball at Harvard in the fall of 2016. Barta led the Crimson in scoring last season, averaging nearly 17 points per game. She was named All-Northwest Suburban Conference. Though Ivy League schools don't offer athletic scholarships, the chance to go to Harvard was too hard to pass up for Kenzie.
I started talking to them during the school year, and then I actually went out there in June, and once I went out there, it just felt like the right fit for me. The coaches, the team, they were all amazing. And you know, the opportunity to play in the Ivy League at a high level athletically was very appealing, and you really cannot beat the academics, so.
Harvard is a Division I program in basketball. Barta has played AAU ball this summer with the Metro Stars. She has a 4.0 GPA and said she'd like to study something in the medical field. The Cooper football team has high hopes this season. Here's Jay Wilcox with today's prep football training camp report on the Hawks.
For a program that had long struggled, Cooper's put together some pretty solid seasons of late. This year, they hope to take it up another level. They were 5-4 last fall, with 3 of the losses coming by 6 points or less. They're ready to take off.
Definitely, we're working. We're definitely excited about the season. How I think they're going to turn out. We're looking nice. I'm comfortable how we're looking. We out here working.
I think this is the year that we finally break the sections and go to state this year. We've been working a lot. We've got a lot of people coming back, so I'm thinking that this is the year we go to state, for sure.
It's an experienced group with a couple of explosive playmakers leading the way. Speedy University of Minnesota recruit Philip Howard is back at quarterback and safety. 1,200-yard rusher Levante Taylor returns after earning Metro West Offensive Player of the Year honors. Left tackle Eric Aboje is a junior who is getting Division I looks and leads an offensive line that will be a strong point.
And until this year, and even a little bit last year, we've always had to have our starting Mike linebacker have to play offensive line just because he's aggressive and he can get the job done. We've never had really those linemen. Well, I can't say the same anymore when you've got a 6'7", 350-pound tackle, a 6'6", 310-pound tackle on the other side. Now we're looking good. So when we got our running back doing what he did last year, now we've got some size and girth going with them. I'm going to be impressed to see what they can do.
Fireplug linebacker Alonzo Hawley, who also plays fullback, and defensive back receiver Moses Yangacha helped to lead a swarming defense. The switch to district scheduling has Cooper playing what should be a very competitive schedule, and one that includes a resumption of the rivalry with District 281 foe Armstrong.
Everybody likes that game, so Armstrong and Cooper, you know, I guess it's been a talked about rival. So yeah, it's going to be a fun night.
That Cooper-Armstrong matchup comes in week 3. The Hawks are hoping to have built some momentum by that point. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
1, 2, 3, work! Coach Howard begins his 6th season at Cooper with a 28-20 record. 7 starters return on offense and 6 on defense. The Hawks open against Bloomington Jefferson Saturday the 22nd. Terry Tuma brought home some new fishing products from the ICAST convention in Florida last month. Here's this week's Channel 12 fishing tip.
Last week we talked about new products at ICAST, and this week's tips are going to be a coverage, if you will, or an expanded coverage of more products. Berkeley has reintroduced a Fireline, improved Fireline for smoother casting, less fraying, and a lot of us that use Fireline know about the fraying, even though it doesn't cause any problems or you sort of loses some of its color, becomes sort of gray, but now that's going to be prevented with this new improved Fireline. And then too, what really caught my eye was very interesting for us that cast and for bass and for walleyes with crankbaits, for instance, or if it's Texas rigging or whatever, Daiwa has introduced a bait casting reel rated down to 6-pound test instead of 10, 12, and 14. But the biggest factor here, no backlash and no thumbing. Also, a new reel that Daiwa has introduced, a very smooth, lightweight reel in different models, if you will. And the biggest factor here is that for this kind of a quality reel, it's going to sell for about $79.95. And then what really caught my eye, something that we think, well, it's not that new, if you will, or useful, but Locksec has introduced a bag that is 100% waterproof down to 200 feet. And it's going to be great for your iPhones, for notebooks, cell phones, phones, or we can go on and on with the usage, and it's completely waterproof, and you can enter, if you're going to text or make a phone call, you can enter that. Eagle Claw also has introduced sort of a Teflon coated hook for easy penetration. Just some of the new products out there, and they'll be available again sometime this fall and early winter. Have a great week on the water.
Thanks, Terry, and that's it for sports.
Thanks, John. Still ahead, plants that require extra summer care.
We're in the garden to talk hydrangeas coming up next. Well, you could say hydrangeas are classic summer plants.
Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden with expert Donna Italian from Lime Greenhouse for some tips on growing healthy hydrangeas.
They're just so pretty. If you want to make a statement in your garden, hydrangeas may be the way to go. It's called Great Star. As you can see, the flower on it has a great pretty flower. The plants are native to southern and eastern Asia. There are 3 popular species of hydrangeas. There's the old-fashioned one that you're used to, which is the Annabelle or the Incredible. These are paniculatas. This one is a newer one. It's called Bloomstruck. This bunch belongs to the Macrophylla group. And those are the ones that you can change the color. All hydrangeas like acidic soil, and most will thrive in partial shade. These will take more shade. These will take some shade, but not as much shade as, say, your Annabelle or your Incredible, because these have a bigger leaf on them. And so in turn, they can take in more light. Some hydrangea plants need cutting back, while others should just be left alone, like the Macrophyllias. On this family, you do not want to cut it down to the ground. You only want a deadhead. And just like the name suggests, hydrangea plants need to be hydrated. They dry out real fast when they're young, so you do need to water them enough. The best thing about hydrangeas is that most will bloom all summer long. Shrub starts out so little, and then they just start opening up, and it just lightens up your garden. For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And one other note, you should avoid planting hydrangea plants under trees where the roots will compete for nutrients. And that does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next, and we'll see you back here tomorrow beginning at 4 o'clock.